Evolutionary.org, episode 543. Today we're going to talk about fake fitness on YouTube and Instagram just to be viral. So let's start off with, the way things work, okay? And we see this a lot with these guys on here. They want this image of themselves as, let's try to be, as masculine and as let's get women. I'm gonna get pictures of myself in a hot tub with women all around me, and they're just not regular women. They're all these, model type of women with these big breasts, and they have they're blonde, of course, and you know what I'm saying, and they're hot. They got these bikinis on and all this shit. It's like watching a beer commercial, right? So look, it's marketing, guys, and these women, the same guys, okay? Because I live close to a lot of these fuckers, okay? I see them in the gym. I see them in the supermarket. I've seen one dude one time. He's in the supermarket with his wife, and there's like two kids. One kid's like tugging at the cart, crying because they want, candy bar or whatever, and they're sitting there arguing. They're the same motherfuckers I see in person. And then you go on their you go on their YouTube or Instagram, and they're in a hot tub with a bunch of women that they paid to be in the hot tub with them. They pay an hourly rate. And they call them up to an agency, and they're like, yeah, send me a couple models, send me a couple hookers, send me a couple escorts, and let them come and do a photo shoot with me. That's the way it works, And in real life, they're just these family men, with like two kids, you know what I'm saying? So, and in the cars too, you'll see them a Lamborghini. It's always a Lamborghini. It can't be any other car. It has to be a Lamborghini. They'll rent a Lamborghini for a day. All right.
Yeah.
And they'll fucking drive it and they'll take pictures with it and all this stuff, but they don't really drive a Lamborghini. They're just some fucking average schmuck. They live in the, in the suburbs, probably like a gated community on the suburbs, boring as hell. And they drive a fucking Toyota Corolla. Not that there's anything wrong with driving a Toyota, but look, it's marketing. And if they post a picture on Instagram of them in a Toyota Corolla, no one's going to give a shit. But if they post a picture of a Lamborghini, and it's like, wow, this guy, he's successful. He's got all these women. He's got these cars. It's all fake. It's all marketing, guys.
Yeah.
Mobster, yeah.
Just a great example, Steve. And this one's done the rounds on social media. Funny enough, it was a photograph of said person, who should not be named, appearing to walk, should I say, to their private jet or one that they'd hired, and had stopped and taken a photograph with them appearing to walk to the private jet. Maybe a buddy took the picture. And then they got caught out. They were literally on a $200 economy flight going across the states, and it was the person that took that photograph posted it the same day with the same time and all the rest of that kind of stuff as within a few minutes of the private jet. So what happened in reality is they'd walked past the private jet, took the opportunity to take the photograph, and then gone on the perfectly normal average Joe type stuff $200 flight, and flown economy sensibly, in fact, with a decent price of money. So instead of 5G or 10G, it's cost them $200 across America to do whatever bit of work they were doing. They were a singer of some description, Steve. So, and they got caught out. It literally says you might have this picture of what appears to be some sort of thing that you're going to do, and you're dressed very nicely, but in reality, you're kind of sensible with your $200, but you're not flying across the America to this thing that you need to do, which is going to be some sort of successful thing, and you haven't spent 5G or 10G on a private jet to get you there. So you are lying about the success. You are pretending that there's this element of success in your life. Visually, great. Motivated, maybe, yes. But truthful, no. So there's that, right? Now we've got plain good old-fashioned fake stuff, Steve. You and I know this, where, as you say, the illusion of all of those things is fake. All that other stuff that's supposed to be marketed or sex in the background is fake. But we know where people have had products injected into their skin, where they've had specific plastic surgery, for example, butt implants, pec implants, bicep and tricep oils, etc. The beads, the PP something or other beads injected in, fillers, and so on and so forth. So the idea that they're hitting the gym and they've created this amazing, amazing, amazing looking body. Listen, guys, this is not you girls getting a hair, go to a fantastic salon and having your hair done, putting a little bit of lippy or blusher on. Guys, trimming your beard, maybe whipping a bit of baby oil on top of your shoulders or something so that they shine and give a little bit more illusion of definition. It is literally that what you appear to be a fake abs, Steve. I've been crying out loud. Fake abs. If you have an Instagram account where you've had surgically put underneath your skin a sort of plastic mold, I don't even know what it's made of, Steve, silicone, maybe, I have no idea, and it appears to give you the illusion of having real abs, and you haven't told people that's what you've done, then what you're presenting as a sort of sign of your success on social media, and I think specifically of Instagram here, Steve, because it's pictures and stuff, is this idea that your ab program, the work you've done in the gym, is the reason why you look. You are presenting an out-and-out fake image. That's just on you physically, never mind the virtues of success. Just that single thing, Steve. What do you think on that?
Yeah, and look, let's go to the next one. So just phoniness. So let's say why did they do that? Because they want to sell you. At the end of the day, they want to sell you this image of themselves so that they can sell you something, clothing, supplements, whatever, or they'll actually be paid by these supplement companies, outside supplement companies or outside apparel companies, to get you to post, about them. And it's basically marketing. And then you get a cut of whatever they make. So that's how it works. I mean, in that industry. So big one is pitching. They pitch supplements, but they're really using steroids. So, and listen, the reason this happens, look, if steroids were legal and an underground lab could go freely sell steroids, which is nowhere in the world, can an underground lab black market actually do that? In countries where steroids are legal, you have to still go to the pharmacy and have a professional give you the steroids. You can't, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like these underground labs still get to do whatever they want. So that's not possible, obviously, for a steroid dealer to pay someone to pitch something, right? But supplements, they're legal, over-the-counter supplements. So, of course, that's what they're going to want to do. But they're going to make you think they got the way they look with fake pictures and with a fake image. And they're driving a Lambo and they're getting tons of women from taking a fucking supplement. And that's just lies. Those are lies, and that's just straight up bullshit marketing. And it works. And a lot of people see that. They're like, wow, I want to be like this guy. I want to have women in the hot tub. I want to drive a Lambo. I want to have a private jet that I'm traveling on. So I'm going to take that supplement and I'm going to be just like him. And people believe that. And they start taking these supplements. It's really, really strong marketing, because I know so many guys who are in their late teens, early 20s, who actually think that these guys use these supplements, but they don't realize that these guys are on actual anabolic steroids to get to how they look. Go ahead, Mobster. Yeah.
Let me give you an example of how this works, guys. There are some fantastic supplements out there. There are products, for example, I'm going to say fat burners here, Steve, that work. But the issue that Steve describes is, let's say, for example, product X comes in the post for Mobster to use, and Mobster uses it, and I burn fat. I get a little tiny bit leaner. Now, if I've just used that product, that's honest, that's truthful, and I have lost some fat because I've used this product X. But if, as Steve says, I've been using DMP and CLED and anabolic steroids, if I forget to mention that I've been running 15 miles every day, Steve, then I've lied. And I've done that in order to promote, as Steve says, I've pitched a product and I've given you the impression, by not telling you everything else that I've done in order to get into shape, that this product is the only reason that I've transformed my physique, which is pitching a product which is bullshit. So there's that simple thing right there. Classic example, which Steve and I have discussed on a bunch of podcasts, is, and I'll give you a very easy way that this is done, Steve. If I take a bunch of pictures when I'm in shape, let's say I've got myself in shape for a challenge, guys, or for competition. And like the Lamborghini example that Steve did earlier on, I hire it for a day and I have it taken in a bunch of locations, Steve, outside the club, outside the restaurant, outside the mansion, down the beach, whatever. And if I'm lucky, and I'm real lucky, Steve, it's different weather. It's sunny in the morning, it's overcast in the afternoon, it's dark at night. I then, along with my fabulous physique that I've worked months to get into shape for, take hundreds of pictures at those locations with my abs on view, with my serrated triceps, etc., etc., etc. And then what I do is I very slowly release one picture a day or one picture a week for the rest of the year, giving you the illusion that I'm in shape 24/7. Then what do I do, Steve? Which you and I have touched on before. I've got my meal plan, guys. It's only $100 a month. It's only $500. You can have the one-to-one with me, blah, 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 because I'm trying to sell you to pay my bills, to pay my mortgage, to pay for that goddamn Lamborghini that I have for the day and actually have a Lamborghini by selling you the idea of me being in shape 24/7, 365, when in reality, I was in shape for 2 weeks. When in reality, I had that Lamborghini for a day, Steve. So how you present that stuff, and ultimately it comes down to what you're trying to sell. There are too many, and there's some really, really good ones as well, Steve, but there are too many people that are trying to get to where they feel they're successful and create the illusion of that thing and sell your product because that's what pay their bills, and they're doing what they need to do in their mind, but they are creating a situation where the product that they're trying to pitch, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's a pair of shoes, whether it's a fat burner, wherever else, is the reason for that success. Whereas in reality, they created the illusion of that, and it's not the reason why they're successful. And it's especially, as Steve says, applies where if they're using PEDs, which we talk about on these podcasts, and then don't tell you that these are the PEDs and give you the idea that they're using that particular product. There's another worse one, Steve, which you and I know for a fact works. And again, I've seen people get caught out on this. And that is literally where the image and or video has been manipulated, specifically Photoshop type programs, guys, where girls have created images, and guys have done this as well, but I can think of the examples in my head as girls where they have this ridiculously tiny little waist or this exaggerated butt, or their boobs are way, way, way bigger. And then someone's pointed out that the door frame that they're standing in is all skewed on one side, or the tiles on the bathroom wall are all wonky. And it's only because of the CG, only because of the manipulation of the thing. A great example of this, and I actually know this, is a very well-known big supplement company back in the day, and the pros that were involved in the photographs told people how it was done many, many years later, Steve. So you get a real harsh light, and you get the person to stick their stomach out and puff their cheeks out and kind of slouch, and you use and you kind of under or overexpose the image so they look fat and out of shape. And then they literally went off, got a spray tan, came back, someone trimmed their beard, someone combed their hair, so they pulled the shorts up so you could see more of the thighs, and then they used a much, much better light, and they put a filter on it. And this is before Photoshop, Steve. It was literally just, and it'd be done in a day, from quote unquote fat and overweight condition in the morning to in shape using product X in the afternoon. And it was the same goddamn day, Steve. Now, Photoshop takes that to a whole nother level. Talk about how people are literally manipulating the image that you see to create that false impression on social media.
Yeah, and I'm not tech savvy at all, but I know that there's people out there. You can literally just message them and tell them, hey, I'm going to send you a bunch of pictures of myself. Can you please make me look like I have more abs than I do, more skinnier than I am, more muscular than I am? And they'll take their picture and they'll doctor them, and then they'll put them on there. It's all about marketing. We live in a world of advertising and marketing. In fact, it's one of the most, oddly enough, you don't hear enough people say, what do you want to go to? What do you want to major in college? You don't hear enough people say marketing or advertising, but it's a really great industry to get into because it's everywhere. You turn on the TV, it's there. You go to a sports game, it's advertising all over the place. You go out down the street, there's billboards. I mean, advertising is everywhere. Stores need it, everything needs it. So same thing in bodybuilding. These people actually pay. Now, these people who build a big following on social media, or even ones that are just starting out, they'll actually hire a marketing firm, and the marketing firm will actually handle a lot of their website operations and help them grow their website. So even if you just start out with no followers, you're just starting out a brand new Instagram page, you can hire them and they can do that. You can also buy followers, and that's a big thing too. A lot of these social media pages of these the bodybuilders, they have like 100,000 followers, but like 90,000 of them are like bot. And then they'll grow their page from there, because then the algorithms will pick their stuff up from there, and then they'll build up even more people. So you can cheat in that way by, using some money to your advantage and do it. But in that situation, what you're going to have to do, obviously, you're going to have to be active. The more active you are, the more algorithms will pick you up, the more people will comment on your page and all kinds of stuff. So, it all has to do with that. But clickbait is very important. The best thing that can happen to you is being controversial. And we see this in bodybuilding, saying stupid shit, recommending crazy dosages to people. This is the way we've seen people do it in the past. They'll come out and they'll recommend these crazy dosages, and other people, or they'll do something. They might do something that's completely immoral. They might do something that's completely like off base and just rude, and pick fights with other people on social media, and they'll stage those things too. You'll see guys collaborate with each other, be like, you know what, let's start up a beef between each other, and let's make it look. It's kind of like the Hulk Hogan and who's the other guy, the Persian.
Yeah, all of the WWF back in the day was the promos,
and then they hang out together. After they'll go on vacations together with their family, but when they're actually doing it, they do these fake beefs with each other, and it builds the camel guy, whatever the
I know what you want about. They literally would decide who was going to win the fight before the fight. Now you're really getting thrown around the ring, guys. You are really getting hit, but you're not getting hit full knuckles into the face. You might get a forearm to the chest or whatever else, and the forearm's coming, so it hurts, but it doesn't hurt like a real fight would hurt. And you decided at the beginning who's going to win, and even if you had a real fight, the outcome was still decided. Now that's cool.
Iron Sheik. Iron
Sheik is the one you're thinking of. Exactly right. But the promos were everything. So, like Steve, I can think of a couple of professional bodybuilders right now that did exactly that, Steve. One specifically did it, and the other one went along with it. And I don't think they actually sat down and decided per se, but the person that did it, who should remain nameless again as usual, literally said he wanted to bring that kind of element of excitement to bodybuilding and get people interested. And arguably they did. The views on the pay-per-view stuff were up because of what he'd done. Now, like Steve says, I'll give you an example again, guys, on this, and I'll talk about marketing as well, Steve. So there are a bunch of videos of people doing kind of crazy shit in gyms, fights in gyms. I didn't know what I was doing with this piece of equipment, or they're training for something really weird, and they're using the equipment completely against the instructions that you would give them on how to get them. I think, like, some of these glute things or something, you might be some sort of javelin throw or something, Steve. So you found that this machine follows the same path as a javelin, so you're using it and you think, what the hell's that guy doing? What the hell's that girl doing? And then it ends up on YouTube, it ends up on Facebook, it ends up on Instagram. Now, what we've also seen more recently is where they've gone down to film themselves doing something stupid and crazy and whatever else, and it's got nothing to do with some niche sport that they're using this piece of equipment in a weird and strange way. It's literally done just for that. And the problem is, Steve, first off, it creates a completely false impression because it's a lie again. Secondly, it's literally been done just for the views. And then thirdly, which is something that Steve and I talked about in the pre-show, the people that end up being the most successful are the ones that are, to quote the phrase, real with you. Real life, real cars, real shopping, real success, real failures, real good day, real bad day, all of that stuff. What they're not doing, as often as not, and I'm thinking specifically a very, very, very good classic bodybuilder, his reason for his success is because he's been cried on camera when he's upset. He was cried when he's had issues with his illness that made it hard for him to win competitions. And it was real. And he said, sometimes he talks to the camera like he's having a hell of a time, and sometimes he talks to the camera like he's having a kind of crappy, slow day. And that comes across, Stevie. What he's not doing is pretending to be happy and super successful and all that kind of bullshit all the time. And he's ended up with, and we've done a podcast on this, 4 or 5 times the numbers of the professional Mr. Olympia that had won in another category because of that way that he was real, because his followers could see that it was real. And I can think of examples outside of bodybuilding that are exactly the same. On the marketing, I've been God help me, Steve, in that situation where marketing companies have approached me via, and they'll post a lovely comment on a picture of me training or lifting weights or looking hench in some giant t-shirt or whatever, and say, hey, we love your photograph, DM us, blah, blah, blah. Now, as often as not, these are actually reps that are contacting you, not even the company. And then I've seen how this works. I think the one that I bothered actually getting in touch with, wow, this is an opportunity because I've never had it before, Steve, was they say something silly like, you know, if you wear this t-shirt that we print, that we make, you go on our page and you look on their page, and there's a bunch of people like myself, good shape, in the gym, strong, whatever, that have got decent profiles, decent numbers, and whatever else, and you they get 4,000 or 5,000 likes. But some of my stuff does, it's a fraction of that, Steve. Even my better things. I do very well sometimes on the algorithms because I'm in a niche situation, and lots of people, stuff like I get a lot of comments or likes in a day. And as an example of that, back in the day when I was one of the first persons to ever close a number 4 gripper on camera, I got 1,000 hits a week for 60 weeks. I think it's still got 67,000 views, Steve, from back in the day. But I actually got approached by the Google ads because I was the only person that had done that. I had the most traction when anybody had done it. In reality, it was mad for 5 minutes and then it calmed the hell down. And so it never went anywhere. Same thing with these t-shirts. And what makes it worse, Steve, and it's a big time marketing thing you guys need to be aware of, is they actually want you to pay for the t-shirt. And they're probably getting some of those views on the photographs of previous people wearing the t-shirts or whatever, is also, as Steve said, come from the fact that they brought 100,000 followers. So I go, oh, I've had a DM, Steve. I've been approached to wear this t-shirt. What an opportunity for Mobster to do well, blah, 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 blah. Hang on, they want me to send them $50 and $20 shipping. Why am I paying for the thing they wanted me to wear for them to sell more t-shirts for them? Now they've got a sale out of me if I'm that daft. I then wear the t-shirts because I think maybe even if I spent $50 plus shipping to wear the t-shirt, I might get the traction. In reality, the only place that goes crazy with their brought viewers, their brought followers, is their page with me wearing a t-shirt which they are selling. So where have I benefited from it? I'm $58. I'm for $70 down. I think it's good. No, it's not. I mean, so that's kind of how marketing works as well, guys. There's a bunch of stuff like that. The last one for you, Steve, this is a social media thing again, is and this works especially true on Facebook. And I've seen there's a bunch of these, Steve. And it works again on Instagram for the same reason. Now, maybe not Instagram so much, but certainly on Facebook, you can create fake profiles and it'll be some poor, wounded, soppy dog. Oh, look at that poor dog. Look at the state he's in. And we'll put love and care and all that kind of stuff against it. And then what does the company do? They take away the image and edit it. So it now has a picture of a product that they want to sell. And in the meantime, it's had 14,000, 15,000, 100,000 shares, 20,000, 200,000, a million likes or whatever. And now it's straight to marketing. And they understand how the algorithm works on Instagram. And there are literally, and it just started in my generation, Steve, because I was one of the first guys in this country as a group going out on what we call meets, like used to do with the CB radio back in the day, and going to the gym and taking shots and then going back on the forums. There wasn't even social media then, and posting these photographs of a hell of a time that we'd all had meeting up. I was one of the first guys to do that. So I was right there at the fucking beginning, Steve. So I know how this stuff works. So you can do that. There are people now who literally list themselves as TikTok actors, TikTok actresses, when it's still really an app, or Instagram influencers. And classic example would be, which is the worst kind, I think, in my mind, is if I pretended I was an influencer on Instagram and I went to a gym and I said, I'd like to train in your gym for free, but what I'll do is I'll take pictures of me or video of me training in your gym, and then I'll post it on social media and you'll get your gym plugged. Is there a benefit for most people and most gyms in that situation? No, there is not. And social media, listen, guys, get educated, get a job, go out and do the grind. And if you get some side hustle from Instagram or social media, fine. But to go to hotels or restaurants and say that you have these followers thing and get free food and free rooms, sometimes I'm almost of a, if they can, Steve, why not? But ultimately, it's a falsehood. So for me, for example, going to a gym and asking to train there for free, and I should pay my $10 like everybody else, because why the hell not? And then pretending that they're going to get more business because I'm a social media influencer, when in reality I've got 500 followers or something. And here's how these numbers work again, guys. It's the same as marketing. It's like 1 in 1,000. So I would need 1,000 followers just to get them a new customer to go to the gym who had to live around the corner. And they say I saved myself $10. The gym owner gets nothing. The company gets nothing. He might be extremely lucky if I manage to drive another customer there. So that's how advertising works. That's how marketing works. And that is unfortunately in this situation, sometimes how social media works. And not only that, guys, ultimately you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your followers, you're not doing the companies that did help you out any real favor if you don't have a level of success. And if we want to talk about positivity, in terms of all of the things that we do in the iron game, weightlifting, bodybuilding, getting in shape, the health and fitness lifestyle, then we need to promote it in a healthy, proper, truthful, and honest way. And if we say these things and they aren't true, and the game, the iron game, every aspect that we're involved in doesn't benefit, then all we've done has been a tiny bit selfish. And our followers will at some point, Steve, know that this is true. What's your last thoughts before we finish up?
The big question is, does social media benefit society or hurt society? And Mobster and I, we're not going to solve that. So debating it, we could do 20 shows debating it, but at the end of the day, what you can do for yourself is just protect yourself and realize that this marketing is very real. These clickbait is very real. For me, if I'm going to go on social media, I want the people on social media who are positive, who don't use clickbait, who don't market outside products and make a cut from it to a ridiculous extent. Now, it's one thing to have sponsors, okay, and you advertise a sponsor and they have good products. That's one thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But those sponsors for some of these guys are just a bunch of goons. Like, you've got their people running these supplement companies who are in and out of prison. They're drunks. They're drunk drivers. There's one guy, he's been in and out of prison. He took a bunch of kids on a boat and he got in a boat accident while drunk. I mean, these people, you shouldn't be following people who just follow the trail. Are they willing to take money from someone like that? Then that's someone that's not a good person. So you got to follow people who are good people. Mobster and I we don't spend the whole, we don't have like a zillion people on Instagram or something, and we don't take money from people to promote products.
On this podcast, Steve, what do we want? When we've said this on the previous podcast, what we want, guys, is for you to be informed, educated. We push you towards research of your own. And what do we want, Steve? Ultimately, we want every single podcast we do, sponsored or otherwise, to benefit the listener, whether we explain something like a product and how it works. And then what have I said on those kind of podcasts? It says, go back and check up what we've said. Go back and look at the ingredients we've just listed for yourself. Do your own research to see what we said is true. If you do that, you'll see that it's true, that we're not lying. And so, for example, if we talk about a mindset, if we talk about training or whatever else, I want the listener to come away with something more than they had when they came to start the podcast and listen to us. I want them to be motivated to go down the gym and kick ass, their own ass, never mind anybody else's. I want them to eat better. I want them to look better. I want them to be stronger. And Steve wants the same as what I do. So what we do with this podcast, including this one, is we educate, we illuminate, we shine on the bullshit to let you know that it's bullshit. But ultimately, we want you out there as best you possibly can be, in the best shape, making no mistakes with PEDs, because we've given you solid ass advice, making sure how to know what's a good product and is not a good product, making sure that when you go down the gym, you are Steve, metaphorically on fire, because we G'd you up, because you listened to Stevesmi and myself, and we made you want to go down the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning because you woke up at 3 o'clock and you listened to our podcast. That's what we want. And the real social media accounts, the ones, and I say real in that specific way, Steve, the ones that end up being the most truthfully successful, even if they're only shining a light on some positive aspect of their life, work the best and get the best And a great one is a super duper movie star right now who shows his kids goofing around with him, as well as showing you stuff on set, as well as showing you did in the gym. One of the videos he did, and again, I'm not going to name him, Steve, training at 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the morning. At night, he's training in the middle of the night after being on set all day, still getting his shit done. So you go, right, if he could find time after a 16-hour day on set to do a half hour, 45 or an hour workout at midnight, then he's showing you that even if you've only got a piddly little 300-pound weight set in the garage with a bench and a little cage or something, you can still do your stuff. Guys, stupid things like getting up 15 minutes early in the morning instead of having that little lay-in to do one thing every single day that makes you successful. Now, when it comes to social media, what would we have you do in this example, Steve, is for you to show people that one thing that you're doing every single day that takes extra 15 minutes that you got out of bed early for, and go onto your social media account. Now, maybe it doesn't get 2 million views, 2 million clicks, 2 million likes. Well, what have you done? You've shared realness, you shared positivity, and like Stevesmi and yourself, you're putting a message out there that you hope, you pray, will benefit other people because it's the truth, because it's real. It's not CG, it's not fake, it's not been done in a 7-star hotel that you literally popped into to use the toilets off or something silly like that, Steve, because you've showed them what you've done. The realness, like the coal miner's face or the guys working on the railways, whatever else. You get paid great money, Steve, but it's a hard job to do. It's not sexy, it's not romantic, it doesn't give great traction on social media with the algorithms, but it's real. Getting up at 4 in the morning to do your stuff, to prep your food, sitting down, don't go to the parties at night time and doing your stuff for your revision for your essays and your dissertations at college and university. It's real, and it is the proper way to do things. And so what we want from social media, what we hope for, and I think our listeners will do as well, Steve, is a truthfulness and a realness. So that's what we're doing. Guys, even if some of these podcasts are sponsored, we still get you to go away and research what we said as being the truth. We try as best we possibly can, 999 times out of 1,000, Steve, to be as real and honest and direct and whatever as possible, so that you guys benefit from this information. Please note, we're not doctors, and the opinions are ours. It's our view and based on our experience and views on the topic. A podcast are for informational purposes and entertainment only. The freedom of speech and the First Amendment applies.